Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch Show, we start off the new year with Mamdani in New York City, turning what was once the best city in the world into an Islamic Mecca. We're going to go over that. Plus, another crazy example of Muslim takeover in North Carolina, and Shirley being threatened on many levels, Charlie Kirk style. Get ready. It's a new year, and I'm all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. I want to start off by saying Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great New Year's Eve and a great New Year's Day, and we are in the saddle here, ready to rock and roll. This will be undoubtedly one of the most important years, not only in our lifetime, but in our country's history. Later this year, we're going to celebrate 250 years. And by the time the midterms roll around, we are either going to find ourselves saying, how do we save this country? Or, thank goodness we saved this country. That is the thin line that we right now tap dance on. And if you think about it, in one direction, we should have all the stars aligned. Everything should be going our direction. We should be able to be changing laws, making new laws, and getting this country back on the track it once was. It was on a great track. Everybody had in front of them the opportunity of the American dream. And then along the way, everything started to get taxed. You've got federal tax, Social Security tax, state tax, property taxes, sales tax, Medicare tax, Social Security tax. You're giving away more than half of your money to the U.S. government and to state and local government. And what do you get back in return? You get back people coming into this country, taking the money that you paid in taxes because the Democrats want to keep on giving it to them. So this way they always get the new voters, and everybody laughing, ha, 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 go ahead, white man, go ahead, white woman, go keep working and keep paying for my life. You know, the Somalis in Minnesota just held a press conference not more than a day ago, and they all got up there and they started whining and crying about how unfair things are. And one of the young men who was there, one of the Somali men, got up there and started talking about his hardships. But the part that he forgot when he was going through his taqiyya, which is the Muslim permission slip to lie, cheat, and steal your way through your jihadi practices, he was wearing a $3,000 pair of eyeglasses, okay? I'm doing pretty good in life. And I could tell you, I never would even imagine buying $3,000 pair of glasses. I get my $10 guys from Amazon. We find ourselves on this thin line. The stars have aligned for us in the sense that we've got the Supreme Court, we've got the White House, we've got the House and the Senate, and yet we can't get this president to get anything through because he's got to go through his own party who is trying to stop him. People talk about a uniparty. They get so concerned about what the hell is, why aren't we getting anything pushed through? And it's because I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, there are many, many parts of the GOP which is still stuck in that back room with the cigar smoking and I rub your back, you rub my back, deep state deal making. You think half of these senators want Donald J. Trump? They want him gone. They're counting the days on their watch until he's history. It's up to us. 2026 is up to us. We have to put on an incredible amount of pressure More now than ever, folks. And I know you hear about this about every election, about every year. It's always more important than the next one or the last one. I think I have every right to tell you that we literally stand at the edge of the cliff this year. It's more important than all the ones before them, and they were very important. And the reason why I can get away with saying that and not be accused of hyperbole or sensationalism is because yesterday in New York City, once the greatest city in the world, once the shining city on the hill for the United States of America to say, look what we can do, has now become an Islamic Mecca. Mr. Mamdani was sworn in twice, officially by Letitia James, while he stood on a set of subway steps. I mean, the props are just sickening. And then, of course, yesterday he has his inauguration. And at that inauguration, he is sitting next to two of the most dangerous people in the U.S. Congress, Senator Bernie Sanders and House member and future presidential candidate AOC, best known for her ability to make a good sex on the beach cocktail. Letitia James right next to them. Governor Hochul, who looked like a deer in headlight, next to them. We just gave over the city of New York to a Democrat, socialist, Muslim who swore in on a Quran. That sounds, just say that to yourself 10 times, if you could even get through it. Because by the time you get to number 2, you're nauseous. By the time you get to the third time you're saying it, you're wondering, am I stuck in some sort of Steven Spielberg sci-fi movie where the Muslims have taken over New York and we're swearing in on the Quran? No, this ain't a movie. This is a reality show that is completely unscripted. It is real time. Pinch yourself. You're awake. And the clips I'm going to show you here today prove the fact that our country is tap dancing on that fine line. And if we slip up any more than we already have, we fall off into the abyss. You never get this country back. If we could align the GOP to get its act together, and the number one thing that needs to be done is nuking the filibuster. I did my morning show, my morning video from the balcony was all about the filibuster. I'll summarize it in 30 seconds. If the GOP, the senators, do not nuke the filibuster, if we do not take away that 60 vote needed in order to get through voter ID or better border security or better tax rates for the American citizens, if we don't get that filibuster to where we can just get the 51 votes, we're done. We're finished. Because every city in this country is going to follow what you watch in Dearborn, New York City, Somali, Minnesota. That's the direction of the country. And people like you and me, normal, everyday, tax-paying, patriotic citizens, I hate to say it, many are going to give up. They're going to throw their hands in the air, and they're going to go into survival mode, and they're going to figure out, how do I just get through this? We can't have that happen. It starts with nuking the filibuster. President Trump has the right set of principles for the America First agenda, but he can't get it through for as long as he's got these rhino senators in his way. The only way to get these people to fold, and I say fold in the sense of get away from the deep state and get into the America First bucket, is they have to truly believe that they will lose their last election. And so we need to create this year an incredible movement, a movement of resolutions that forget about the I need to lose weight, I need to get more sleep, I need to talk to my cousins again. Those things are important, but they should be at the bottom of the list. You should never be more resolute in your life than on this day to say that you are going to do everything you possibly can to ensure that we don't fall off that rope to the wrong side, that we are going to put pressure on these senators to get the America First, Donald J. Trump, MAGA movement and agenda through. If we can put the right laws into place, like voter ID, just for a starter, if we can get this country set up in the right way, well before November, we will get people excited. People will come out in droves to ensure that Trump and Vance stay in power. And we have the House and we have the Senate in greater numbers than we do already. It has never been an easier thing to do, and at the same time, never been more difficult. And that's why I tell you, we are in the most dangerous time ever. And for those people who say to me, no, we can't nuke the filibuster, believe me, you want it now, but when we lose control to the Democrats, they're going to do it, they're going to have it, and if they nuke the filibuster, do you know what they'll do? Yeah, I do know what they'll do. I wrote these down for you. The Democrats don't need filibuster to be nuked because they don't play by the same rules that the rule players play by. No, you and I and the GOP and Trump, we have to play by the rules, but the Democrats never do. And it is not a constitutional law. It's not written that the filibuster needs to be there. The filibuster is a rule within the Senate. So to kind of put this into size for you, imagine going to public school. You could wear whatever you want. But if you go to private school, there's a different set of laws at that private school. Once you walk in the front door, you need to wear a uniform. If you don't like it, well, then change the rule or go back to another school. We need to nuke the filibuster now, because let me tell you what the Democrats have been able to do to you and me and our country, even with the filibuster in place. They pushed no voter ID laws, enabling election fraud. They put in place catch and release of illegal aliens, undermining our border security. They pushed widespread mail-in ballots, voter fraud, mandated COVID vaccines. Do you remember that? Forcing people to get shots that they didn't want, specifically in our military. They inflated spending bills, causing runaway inflation and debt. They promoted defund the police departments. Do you remember the defund the police? Yeah. More crime in every city. They weaponized the DOJ against their political opponents. They pushed the Green New Deal as a socialist scam. They allowed big tech censorship to suppress conservative voices. Remember that? That's coming back. They rigged the 2020 election with ballot harvesting schemes. They funded massive DEI initiatives and wasteful training programs and held all white people back, making white people the existential threat to the United States of America. They paid billions of dollars in improper Medicaid and Medicare payments, including double billing scams. They allowed hundreds of billions in fraudulent unemployment and entitlement payments. They funneled taxpayer money to migrant hotels and open border NGOs. And of course, most recently, they've enabled Somali-linked childcare and feeding fraud rings, draining us of billions. This is what they do. So don't tell me if we nuke the filibuster, all of a sudden the world's going to change on us when the Democrats get control back because now they're going to be able to do nefarious things. They're doing them already. It's already in place. We need the filibuster nuked because if we put in the right laws now, not only do we win the midterms, but we secure the next 10, 20, 30 years of conservatives running the U.S. government. You're always going to have blue states, which, oh, by the way, are going to turn into Islamic states if we continue to let that unvetted immigration fly in, just like you're seeing Islamic cities, New York City being the example. We need the filibuster nuked. And if you need proof in the pudding, here is a 1-minute, 47-second video of Mr. Mamdani at his inauguration yesterday in New York City. You listen to this man speak, and if it doesn't send chills down your spine, I don't know why you're listening to this program. Play.
We will deliver nothing less as we work each day to make this city belong to more of its people than it did the day before. Here is what I want you to expect from the administration that this morning moved into the building behind me. We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy. We will govern without shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe. I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life. We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic necessities. And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the Moi, be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York.
No, it's not. It's not a government for New York. It's a government for Allah. It is a government for Allah. You swear in on a Quran. You are swearing to Allah. You are swearing to Allah that you are going to uphold the Islamic doctrine, which calls for jihad, political jihad, civil jihad. Some of the things he said there, I think you need to understand what it means if you read between the lines. Number one, he says that billionaires have been buying our democracy. That is completely untrue. If you want to look at it from that perspective, obviously, you're a person who doesn't want to work hard to try to become something of yourself. Who looks at a billionaire, other than somebody like George Soros, a respectable billionaire like Donald J. Trump, and say, I don't want that? Remember, rappers used to make songs about Trump. He was sort of the beacon that you look to say, hey, I can make it. I can make it here. I can make it in the United States. I can build my name. I can build my brand into something amazing. What Mamdani stands for is for people to say, I'm not going to work anymore. Those billionaires, they create jobs. You want to get rid of the billionaires and millionaires? They're the job creators. There will be no jobs. Did you see those faces in the crowd? All they want is free stuff. They want Somali, Minnesota from coast to coast. What else did he say? We're not going to apologize for what we believe. Well, we have to take him at his word. And what does he believe? He believes in socialism and he believes in the Quran. And he's going to be unapologetic for it. And therefore, you can start to set your clock now. The greatest, biggest story of 2026 will be how Mamdani turns New York City into a full-blown Islamic Mecca. Because he's not going to be apologetic at all for what he and his voters believe. Socialism and Islamic doctrine. He says, he quotes Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders may as well be Islamic because Bernie Sanders himself believes in taqiyya. Of course he does. Now, again, taqiyya is the rule set in the Islamic world which allows you to do dishonest things in order to advance jihad. Bernie Sanders. You'll hear from him in a second. In fact, Ryan, can you cue up Bernie? Bernie Sanders spoke at the inauguration. Let's play him for a second. Here's Bernie Sanders and what he says to the crowd. Listen to this.
Lastly, and maybe most importantly, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. As I was saying, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. It's not radical. It is exactly the right thing to do.
I go back to taqiyya. So Bernie Sanders has been selling this line of BS for decades. Bernie Sanders makes millions of dollars on his book sales. He has multiple homes. Bernie Sanders is a multi-millionaire because of capitalism, because of the system, the same system that he tries to deny. That's taqiyya. He sells a bag of BS, and when people aren't looking, he takes advantage of the same system he pretends to knock down. Let me tell you something that Bernie Sanders and his wife did that you may have forgotten. And it's completely legal, but it's completely unethical. And this is the sort of thing that needs to be fixed. Let's assume that I run for governor of Florida, which I can't because I haven't been here long enough. If I was here long enough, 7 years, I'd be running for the governorship of Florida. Trust me, 100%. So imagine this. Imagine my wife, Mary, goes out and creates Mary's Marketing LLC. Mary now is going to specialize in placing ads on the internet. Not hard for her to understand how to do. Anybody can do it. Watch a few YouTube videos and you'll figure it out. And even if you don't, if your husband's in the internet marketing business for the last 20 years, he can help you out, right? So because Mary has Mary Marketing LLC, my campaign, which is going to raise millions of dollars, $100 million, because people are going to want me to go in and take the torch from DeSantis. You know I'm going to be equally good, if not better. So what winds up happening is that I have to run these ads. So I hire Mary's Marketing LLC, and I tell her out of the $100 million I have, $50 million of it is going to be budgeted for advertising here in Florida. So that $50 million is now funneled through Mary's Marketing LLC. She's putting all my Google ads, my Facebook ads, my X ads, my YouTube ads. She's doing all my ads, all my digital marketing for my campaign. Not Mary, my wife, but Mary's business, Mary's Marketing LLC, of course, where there's only one employee, Mary. Mary's fee, traditional fee, is anywhere between 10 and 20% of the total spend. That's how it is that these companies make their money. So let's just go at the worst case scenario and say that she's going to charge me 20%. It's all legal. $50 million, that's $10 million Mary's going to take for a fee. Whether I win the election or I lose the election, Mary's got $10 million at the end of it. Completely illegal, no issues. The ads ran. I ran it through Mary. Sounds like a little bit of a scam, does it not? That's what Bernie Sanders and his wife did when he was running in the state of Vermont. So tell me about how he doesn't love the capitalist system. Tell me how Mamdani doesn't love the capitalist system. But what they do is they sell in to a poverty level people. And instead of telling them, you can be the next Donald Trump, you could be the next CEO of Google, you could be the next CEO of Home Depot, you can create yourself a beautiful business, family business. Instead, it is those people who work really hard hold you down, and we have to take from them so I could give it to you. You don't need to work. What else did he say in there? The basic necessities. People who couldn't afford the basic necessities. Come on. Why is the exaggeration here so grotesque? The basic necessities of food and water? Everybody's getting that. It costs everybody too much money to get that, whether you're in poverty, whether you're in middle class, or even if you're somebody who's in upper middle class. Yeah, you don't believe me? You know how much my health insurance is costing? $4,800 per month. It sucks. It sucks for everybody. But what I don't do is I don't try to knock down somebody else who's made it so this way I can take their money and pay my bills. But that's what they're going to try to impose. That's what they're going to try to impose here in New York City. And then that's going to spread. He's going to create the model, the socialist model, to go into every city around America. And some of those blue states are going to love how it works so much that those blue states are going to become Islamic states. And as I told you last week, today we mark states by being a red state or a blue state. And if New York City is allowed to be successful in its freaking destruction of New York City, if Mamdani is successful, we will watch in the next few years, especially if we lose the midterms, if we don't nuke the filibuster, you will see that states will change from blue to red to Islamic versus Christian. And ultimately, folks, we will lose the game if we just sit back and do nothing about it in 2026. Here is the next video from Mamdani talking more about what he is going to do for New York City. Watch, listen, and get revved up. Play it.
Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, we will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home. Not only will we make it possible for every New Yorker to afford a life they love once again, we will overcome the isolation that too many feel and connect the people of this city to one another. The cost of childcare will no longer discourage young adults from starting a family, because we will deliver universal childcare for the many by taxing the wealthiest few. Those in rent-stabilized homes will no longer dread the latest rent hike, because we will freeze the rent. Getting on a bus without worrying about a fare hike or whether you'll be able to get to your destination on time will no longer be deemed a small miracle, because we will make those buses fast and free. These policies are not simply about the costs we make free, but the lives we fill with freedom. For too long in our city, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. Our city hall will change that. These promises carried our movement to City Hall, and they will carry us from the rallying cries of a campaign to the realities of a new era in politics.
Yeah. So here's a few things. First of all, he claims that people are no longer starting families because they're discouraged by the cost of childcare. There is some truth in that, but limited, because the way he steers it is very false. First of all, I don't know about you, but when I see these immigrant families, they don't look like they have just one kid. No, just the Somalis alone, as I explained to you last week, the average Somali woman will have 6 children. Right now in the United States, the average white woman will have 1.5. Now, somebody was sarcastic the other day and said, 1.5, how can you have 1.5 children? If Betty has 1 and Susie has 2, the average is 1.5. So the migrants and the immigrants and the low-level poverties, they're not holding back. They're not wearing condoms. They're not practicing safe sex. It's a money-making machine for them. They're pumping out kids like my wife does the laundry. Free and easy, baby. White people and the majority of Americans, hardworking Americans, aren't holding back on having families because of childcare. And if it is because of childcare, why is that? That's because we have set up a system to where both the man and the woman have to go to work. Because like I said before, we're getting taxed to death. And now we see our taxes are going to pay for the female who's going to have 6 kids. This system is no longer working. It is completely broken. It needs to be chopped down, and it's got to go back to the basics. And it's not hard to do because the Constitution, the rule of law, and the general rules of capitalism, the general idea that you as an individual can be whatever you want to be in the United States, you just have to work hard. What you put in is what you get out. That was always the basis. I'm a prime example of it. But if I were to try to be Dennis Michael Lynch at 21 years old, starting my first business, actually 18 years old, I couldn't do that today. There's no way. The Dennis Michael Lynch story of dropping out of college and becoming an entrepreneur and winning awards and employing people and having multiple different businesses, those days are over because we have put such a burden on the white Christian family who made this country. And I'm never going to apologize for that. And it's not racist. I'm so done with that racist thing. And so is the younger generation, as you'll hear in a couple of minutes. We built this country. And we built safety nets for people who fell on hard times, not for you to be a career fraudster. So now we're putting the onus on the women and men of this country, hoping they get married. And they say, we really can't bring a kid into the world until we have enough money saved, until we could actually buy a home. And by the time that they're 40 years old, that's when Samantha is saying to Steve, I think we could have a baby. I know this. I got 3 kids in their 20s, or Denny just turned 30. They can't start families because they're working so hard and they're paying the taxes, putting it back in. So we're paying for all these sloppy, lazy, Democrat, socialist voting pieces of slime. And we don't want to do it anymore. We're tired of it. But it's growing like a cancer in this country. He's going to freeze the rent? If you're a landlord and you own buildings, you know what he's not freezing? You know what Mamdani didn't say? Hey, Mr. Building Landlord Owner, we're going to freeze the rent at $2,500 a month. Can't go any higher. But we're also going to wind up freezing the bill that you have to pay in terms of property tax. So don't worry. Your expenses won't go up. So this way, the rents don't have to go up. He didn't do that. It's going to be a one-sided game. The renter doesn't have to pay anymore, but the landlord, the building owner, is going to have to keep on paying. Let me explain to you what this man is doing. I could go down every single thing he's saying here. It all falls into one super plan. So pay very close attention. Mamdani and his ilk, what they do is they come into a city, they make it incredibly difficult, almost impossible to live there or even want to live there. Who wants to live with 5 times of prayer rugs all over the street? Who wants to hear Allah and all the freaking music going through the town? Who wants to have every single piece of food being halal? Who wants that? Who wants that? Nobody wants that. And then on top of that, when you got to pay for all these people, nobody can afford it. Who wants to own real estate and be a landlord for people when you're at a disadvantage because your mayor or your governor is completely going into the Islamic doctrine, and part of that is jihad against you. So what they do is they force you out of business, they tax you to the hilt, and they force you to leave. You say, screw this, I'm selling my home. Screw this, I'm selling this. And what happens is it becomes a complete 100% city that is dependent on government. That's how it becomes socialist and eventually communist. That is what Mamdani is doing. That is what's going to happen to our United States if the GOP does not wake up, start putting in voter ID laws, stop taking people in from all over the world. End it now. Stop it now. No more ballot voting. You know, I hear people say, well, you know what? New York City's going to get what they voted for. No. The Islamics are going to get what they voted for. Sure, you got some of the crazy blue hair, earring in the eyebrow, Bernie Sanders types people. But never forget that Mamdani only was getting 30% of the native-born vote. It was the foreign-born vote that put him over 60%. So keep that in mind as you watch New York City become an Islamic center of the world. And once they get the biggest city, the rest of it's going to be easy, folks. And we only got so much space in Florida because you're going to see I got nowhere else to go. We need to save our cities. We need to save our states. We need to save our country now. AOC. Play her racket, Ryan.
Zohran Mamdani will be the first Muslim mayor of our great city. He will be our first immigrant mayor in over a century. And he will be the youngest mayor of New York City in generations. But most importantly, Zohran will be a mayor for all of us.
The first Muslim mayor. Yeah. You know who he reminds me of? Barack Obama. Barack Obama. Perhaps the first Muslim president. That's what some people will say. Taqiyya. Never forget Taqiyya. Lie, cheat, and steal, however it is you have to do it, to push forward jihad. We have another AOC statement. Play it.
The city has chosen the ambitious pursuit of universal child care, affordable rent and housing, and clean and dignified public transit for all. And we have chosen that over the distractions of bigotry and the barbarism of extreme income inequality. We have chosen this path because we know that it's the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, and that if we can make it here, we can make it anywhere. New York City, this is an inauguration for all of us. because choosing this mayor and this vision is an ambitious pursuit. It calls on all of us to return to public life en masse. Now is the time for us to turn towards our neighbors, stand with them, and return to community life. A city for all will require all of us to fill our streets, our schools, our houses of faith, our PTAs and our block associations as we support this mayor in making an affordable city a reality for all of us.
Yeah. First of all, let me tell you something. Let's be very clear about something. There is no such thing as free child care, free buses, free this or free that. Somebody's always paying for it. And in the AOC, Bernie Sanders, Mamdani model, you pay for it, I pay for it, they never pay for it. You want an example? Just go see what's happening in Minnesota. See what's happening in the state of Washington. See what's happening throughout this country with all these daycare centers, daycare home providers. It's a freaking scam. It's a scam against you. It's a scam against your money. It's a scam against your family. They are trying to lessen and eviscerate the white picket fence by eviscerating the white family unit. You go make the money, you got the money, and now you're going to give it to everybody else. And we're going to wear, Gucci sunglasses on your dime. And if you don't do it for us, you're a racist. Well, you can take that racist word and stick it up your ass. Those days are over. You ain't going to get anybody feeling guilty anymore. That's it. The charade is done. 2026 is the year that people say ain't happening. You can call me racist, you could call me a misogynist, you could call me a xenophobe, but you just ain't gonna call me stupid anymore. That's what it comes down to. Inequality. Inequality, my ass. There's two sets of people in this country. Those who work hard and aim to be something, and those who don't want to work and just grab off the teat of America. And you know what? Our teats are run dry, baby. It's back to normal. Donald J. Trump, J.D. Vance, and the freaking 80 million people in this country who voted for change, we're not going to sit back and just be quiet. And that's one of the reasons why this podcast, which was retired, has come back. Yesterday, on January 1, our Facebook page hit 1.5 million followers. My X account, dormant. I didn't even use the damn thing. I had 15,000 people following me. My friends were like, why aren't you using X? I'm like, I don't use that stuff. Yeah, I turned it on ever since Charlie Kirk. Guess what? Now I'm at 75,000 and counting, going towards millions. Same thing in Instagram. And it's not me. It's not me. I'm just playing the record. You guys are the ones who are sharing it. And you know what those shares mean? It doesn't mean that you think I'm a groovy guy. It means that you like the message and you want the message out there. And whether you're sharing me or somebody who speaks like me, and sadly, we don't have that as much as we used to because we've seen all these different podcasters who have made gazillions of dollars, who live in just such posh living conditions, just tell you that America First is about hating Israel or about loving Israel. You know what I don't see? And let me be very clear on something. I'm not pro-Israel. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm pro-America. In the same way, I'm not pro-France or anti-France or pro-UK or anti-UK. I'm pro-America. But you know what I don't see? I don't see some Jewish guy up on the steps of New York City saying, we're going to take over from within. We're going to drown you. We're going to take everything away from you and give it to these people. I don't see that. I don't see the Jewish community in Minneapolis stealing our hard-earned money and sending it back for terrorism. What I do see is the Muslim Somalis stealing your money and sending it back to terrorism. We got to call a spade a spade. Let's get back to basics, blocking and tackling here in the United States of America. Let's get back to understanding what the Constitution stands for And that racism is if when you take somebody and make them a slave, and you don't know who the real slave owners are in this country, the Democrat Party. You look back to the Civil War. The Civil War became the Civil War because the Republicans wanted to end slavery. And somehow through the media, the Democrats were so brilliant to where they switched it around and made it sound like the Republicans were the racists. We're the ones who saved that from going any further. You look at Planned Parenthood. What is it? The Republicans are always saying, hey, pro-life, shut those things down. The Democrats are the ones who want the abortion clinics. Do you know who has more abortions disproportionately on a pro-rata basis than any other race? Blacks. So don't tell me that the Democrats aren't the racists. Don't tell me I'm the racist. You're full of it. You're absolutely full of it. And the racist is the guy who stands up on the Capitol steps, whether that Capitol is the Capitol of New York or Minneapolis or wherever it is, and tells people, we're going to take somebody else's money and give it to you because it's not fair that you're not them. That's not the word. That's not the message of America. The message of America is, you see that guy driving that Mercedes Benz? You see that gal right there who's running that company? That could be you, because this country doesn't base anything on your skin color. No, it bases it on what you have inside. Everybody's heart is the same color. It beats the same. It's up here. It's your mental capacity. It's what you believe in. Be focused. Don't get distracted. You can make change in yourself. You can control what it is you do and what you don't do. And if you're just going to be lazy and blame everybody else and point the finger at everybody else and say that they held you down, no. Anybody who tells somebody that they need vote without an ID, vote with a mail-in ballot, that is a racist. You telling me that people can't go get themselves a voter ID? That's a racist thing to say you got to show your identification? If you dare say, go up to any black man, go up to and do it with caution. You go up to a black man and say, I just want to let you know that I don't think you're smart enough to go get an identification. You might get punched in the face, rightfully so. That's what these Democrats do because they are the racists. So do not allow anybody tell you anymore that you are a racist. It's just not the case. And because you want English to be spoken doesn't make you a bad person. Take a look at I don't even know what this is. I guess I'll call him a rapper. I don't even know what this is. This is the music that was played yesterday at the inauguration. Take a listen. So, with that said, we have ourselves a major problem. And I go back to Takia. I want everybody listening to this program, watching this program. Oh, and by the way, thank you so much for all your shares. This program, this podcast came out of retirement. And I just looked before the show. We broke 100 about a week ago. We are now number 72 on the charts, and we're moving to number 1. Get out of the way, Tucker Carlson, with your freaking hysterics. Get out of the way, Megyn Kelly, with your fake conservatism. Get out of the way, Ben Shapiro, with your one-sided nonsense. I'm coming in. The people who are following me, we're coming in. We're going to be number 1. It is an America First 2026. That's the way it works. You don't like it? Move to the side, because we ain't stopping. We ain't stopping. That's why you always have to hit that share button and tell everybody about what this show stands for. The real America First. Do you see this woman over my shoulder? For those of you only listening to the program, she has a hijab on. She is almost full burqa. Her face is covered. The only thing you can see are her eyes. She is clearly African American, but she is full-blown Muslim. This woman, who records apparently show that she has always voted Democrat, be it in federal elections or local elections, a registered Democrat. This woman now, her name, I got to get the name. I'll give you her name when she comes back. She is now running as a Republican in the state of North Carolina. You can't make this stuff up. And right now, she's the only Republican in the race. Her name is Lakeisha Mashanda Ruddy from Alston, North Carolina. She says she's a Republican. Play the video, Ryan.
I am a Republican. I know that I have been seeing a lot of people with hesitation about the party that I choose to represent, just because, growing up, you pretty much do what your family does, what, their beliefs are as far as your party. But like I said, I am matured in my own revelation of what the Republican Party represents, and it looks like me. And just the ideology, the ideology of the Democratic Party. I just have gotten away from some of those narratives, and I feel that the Republicans have a better viewpoint in which the direction that the United States and North Carolina, especially Durham, should be.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? If she's a Republican, then I'm broadcasting from the Congo. Yeah. So North Carolina, you better wake up real soon. Wake up, North Carolina. Wake up. That said, I want to shift gears here for a second. We're going to wind up showing you a clip from another podcast. A gentleman named Patrick Bet-David just interviewed Nick Shirley, the 23-year-old who exposed all that was happening in Minnesota. And wait until you hear what is happening to Nick Shirley. They're threatening his life because he ultimately just showcased fraud. Take a listen.
So Ilhan Omar, nobody from the camp has reached out to you at all?
No.
Have you gotten any threats? Like actual death threats?
Yeah, well, in person and also
Can you tell me
online.
about that? Like, are they messaging you saying, we're going to get you? What are they saying to you?
Yeah, like they're saying, oh, like, kirked. You're going to be kirked.
You're going to be kirked. That's what they're saying to you.
Yeah, like you're the next, you'll be the next Kirk. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Because it's not even, like, I hate what's happening right now. Like, I feel bad for my family, honestly, because it's like, yeah, like, we didn't do anything wrong. And yet you guys are coming after me like I'm some sort of villain, right? So I'm like, my little sister's getting phone calls. I'm like, why are you guys doing this?
Your little sister's getting phone calls?
Yeah, from like the news. I'm like, okay, don't talk to my family. I mean, some news in India, they doxed my home, they doxed my dad, it was really weird. And I haven't even told my dad about that because I just don't want to even bother him about it.
Well, Dad, you know now.
But like they put it, like, it's just like, are you guys kidding me? Like, why are you guys coming after somebody for going against fraud? Like, I didn't make this a right or left issue. I just showed you guys that fraud was happening. And now you guys are coming after me. You're saying, I'll be the next Kirk. You're literally stopping at intersections and coming after me and trying to attack me. Like, why are you so evil? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you defending fraud? Do you like money being stolen? No. Then what are you doing? You're a racist. No, I'm not a racist. I'm just telling you what the facts are. That you guys are stealing money from the people that are working hard here inside the United States. I was literally talking to a black man, and then the Somali man comes out, and he's also black. So I can't understand what they're thinking and calling me a racist. I'm having a great conversation with a black man, and then another black man comes up, and he's Somali descent, and he comes and attacks me for being a racist. I'm like, no, I'm not a racist. It's so stupid. And that's why the fraud has been able to happen for so long, because people like Tim Walz are afraid to be called racist. Like, and me and my generation, we're over it. Like, we don't care.
Oh, I love that, buddy.
Like, we do not care. Call us a racist. I do not care, because I am not a racist. We're just seeing that prices of homes are so expensive. I don't even have a friend that can afford a home. People aren't getting married because of how expensive things are. And we're paying so much money in taxes. Most kids are, I'm lucky because I didn't go to college, but most kids are starting their life off behind the starting line. They're thousands of dollars in the debt. And so, yes, we're upset because you guys are stealing millions of dollars and getting rich, and then you're bragging about the white man working on TikTok. Who's actually the racist? You're the racist. You're the one saying the white man, you work white woman, you work white man. We're sick of it. Nobody cares. Like, stop committing fraud. If you're going to be here, be happy to be here and work hard like we're working hard. Whether you're black, Mexican, Asian, white, just go and work. And don't start playing this victim card and start trying to play political, make things political about money, for instance, or don't get mad at people for making money. Like, that's why America is the greatest country in the world, is because of capitalism. And we had 250 years to do it. All these other countries had thousands of years to do it, but they didn't do it. That's why we have to protect what's ours.
There you go. I mean, I played that for a couple of minutes there, and thank you. Credit goes to PBD Podcast for us playing that clip. There's a young man who is trying to make change and has made change. Do not mistake how much change that man has made. You know, I go back and I think about my border days, and when I was making my border films, yeah, I made a couple of bucks, not a lot. I mean, I never made a lot off my documentaries, just enough to kind of keep the wheels going. But the impact I had was all the different amnesty bills that would come out. My film was always wrapped around another amnesty bill somehow, some way. And we prevented, in a big way, we played a role of highlighting the problem to where there was no way anybody, especially the Gang of Eight bill, back with Marco Rubio, McCain, Lindsey Graham, and another guy I can't remember. What the hell is his name? Jeff Flake. Those 4 Republicans were with 4 Democrats, the Gang of Eight. That's why I could never really get behind Marco Rubio. They wanted to pass that amnesty bill under Barack Obama, and I put out my film, and Hannity gave a 1 hour to Marco Rubio, and then the next week I got a 1 hour with my film, and that bill was crushed. And I had more people in the House tell me, Dennis, that film was so impactful to make people make phone calls. Well, you look at what this young man has just done. By creating a 42-minute video, we've got the government now closing down on money that they're going to be giving into the state of Minnesota until they get their act together. That's why this kid has a bullseye on his back, and somebody's going to want to get him. Think about how sick that is. He is exposing fraud, and people are going to come after him. Well, of course, because they don't want their money taken away. They don't want their money taken away. And like he said, I'm tired of the racist word. My generation is done with that. And it is. The Gen Z whole generation is more conservative than any generation before it because they're tired of it. They've got nothing left. Everything has been stripped from them. The opportunities that you and I had, they don't have them anymore. It's stripped from them. And so we, as an older generation, my audience is 90% 45 and up. We have to be that same way. We're done with that racist thing. We're done with those name callings. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That was the phrase when we were kids. Let's put that back into play. We need to be pushing for our kids, our grandkids, and ourselves. It's not just about everybody else. It's also about ourselves. If God gives me another 40 years on this planet, you think I want to be living with the Mamdanis and this broad, this fraud? No, and you shouldn't want to either. Now, with that said, crazy left. This show brings out the crazy left. We show things that you need to see. Now, if the state of Israel, if the Jewish people want to stop having so many people be frustrated with them, here's one of the things you could do. We're going to play a clip of a billionaire Israeli who is on CNBC saying that the First Amendment should be watered down. It's sickening. Play it.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it. And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah.
There you go. So let me put something out to the Jewish folks here in the country. And I want you to say this. If you're not a Jew and you're a Christian, I want you to say this to anybody in your life who's a Jew. Charlie Kirk wrote a letter to Benjamin Netanyahu shortly before he died and said, "You are making it almost near impossible for me to give you any sort of defense. You have got to change the narrative. You've got to have a better story to tell." And I can tell you there are forces on the other side. Tucker Carlson, you name it. They're all trying to drag in the Muslims and hate on the Jews. Well, mark my word. If you, the Jewish people, continue to vote Democrat, you will have nobody, including myself, on your side ever. You will be grouped with the Muslims because you now are a detriment to my country. See, I don't buy into the whole thing like everybody else does when it comes to the, AIPAC lobbies and, the Jewish state keeps on putting money into our government. Everybody does. We've got lobbyists everywhere. Zebras have a lobbying group, okay? Everybody lobbies this country, not just the Jews, not just AIPAC. And if you want to take AIPAC and Jew money versus the whole Muslim world money, it's not even comparable, okay? If you want a friend in the United States of America, stop voting Democrat. You vote Democrat, you keep on voting Democrat, and we are going to completely alienate you because we are going to America first and America only if that's where it needs to go, but it's America first. Start voting with the people who have been trying to protect you, or you're done. It's just that simple. There's no other way of saying it. I will conclude the show with begging you, literally begging you. I have now made it teamdml.com, TeamDML app, TeamDML membership. I am putting out videos all day long. This is the long form. This is where you really get educated. This is where you really get the details that everybody needs. And in order to be able to get people to watch this, I need to have little tiny clips. We make little tiny clips. We put out news clips. We put out newsletters, 5 different newsletters all day long. And that's what brings people in. And so I've been sitting here racking my brain. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Because so many people say, "Oh, it goes to my spam. Oh, I don't see it on my feed. Oh, I can't share it. Facebook's holding me back. Oh, YouTube isn't showing it to me anymore." Okay, there's a way around that. TeamDML, the TeamDML app, which you get from teamdml.com, teamdml.com has a membership. I have made it so every single American can be part of it. And all I've done is made it so I can cover my costs. I don't want to go out of business. I'm putting $1 million of my own money that I'm borrowing against this house. So this way I can do advertising and get everything out. I'm full in. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But I ain't going to go broke on it. So if you want to become a member, you could be a member for $20 a year, just helping me cover my costs. That's really what it comes down to. $20 a year. You get every single piece of content I create all day long. My team creates all day long. You never miss a thing. Plus, you could do live chat. There's so many other different advantages. I'm not going to lock you down on it. Just go to teamdml.com. There's a 10-minute video of yours truly at the top. Listen to it. And if that's not something you want to be a part of for a measly $20, then I don't know why you're even listening. I can't do this alone. We could rack up and go all the way up the charts, and we'll be the ones that people are listening to, and we can make this country better. You want to know what you could do? $20. I don't get a salary. I don't do anything. I'm freaking retired. I could be playing golf, but I'm here for my kids. I'm here for your kids. I'm here for you, and I am here for me. And you know who else I'm here for? I'm here for my God. God doesn't like what is happening here in the United States. And every time we let another Mamdani come in and swear his oath to the jihadist Quran that sells that you're an infidel, you know what we do? We read a little bit more of the Bible. We sink it. Every morning I go on my balcony before I make my morning video. I tell God, I'm here. You died for me. I owe you everything. And I'm going to give everything I can back to you. And part of that is defending three things: family, freedom, and faith. And the other side is trying to rip us of all three. Have some pride, have some patriotism, and have some feeling of family and unity. Please become part of Team DML. TeamDML.com. Simply $20 for a whole year. You don't want to continue next year? Cancel. My hope is I don't even have to do this next year. Maybe I can retire next year. Maybe we win the midterms and things are going so great, I can finally go back and start playing some golf and enjoying myself a little bit more. Although I shouldn't say that because I love you and I love doing this, but I prefer not to have to work 15 hours a day. Even when now I'm sleeping, I'm laying there, I'm like, all right, what am I going to talk about tomorrow morning? I love my country and I love my fellow Americans. Help me. TeamDML.com. Until Monday. By the way, TeamDML.com, TeamDML membership, there's exclusive content that doesn't go out to anybody else. The content we have up there, most of it you could just share out. Get it out there, get it out there, get it out there, get it out there. You never miss a thing. Some things are exclusive. And so this weekend starts the DML interview. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., you will have an interview. I interview somebody from politics, whatever. You may not always agree with them. Sometimes I ask for the other side. This Saturday, tomorrow, we launched the interview I had with Josh Hammer, who was tight with Charlie Kirk. He's at war with Megyn Kelly. It's an interesting conversation. A lot about what we just took. He and I disagree on how the Muslim world is leading much of the negative commentary. It's a very interesting interview. You'd like it, and you get it if you're Team DML. Until then, if you're on Team DML, I'll see you tomorrow. Other than that, I'll catch you on Monday. Please hit the share button and tell everybody you can about the Dennis Michael Lynch Show. I'd appreciate it in a big way. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless President Trump and J.D. Vance. God bless America. And may this be the greatest 2026. May this be the greatest year of our lives. The year that we literally save America and put America first as the doctrine that this country follows. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.